There is a law higher than the laws of men, a law that does not bend to opinion, fear, or circumstance. It is the divine law, the eternal principle by which the universe is governed, unchanging and exact, as sure as the sun rises and the tide obeys the moon. To live under divine law is to stand upon a rock that no wind of trouble can shake. It is to know that harmony is your birthright, abundance is your inheritance, and right action is your safeguard. Man suffers not because the supply is withheld, but because he speaks against his own good. The tongue is the rudder of life. Words send forth the ships of destiny, carrying the cargo you have chosen. When a man speaks fear, he builds a bridge for fear to cross into his affairs. When he speaks faith, he builds a golden path for miracles to walk toward him. The law is exact. By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Every idle or careless word has its harvest, for nothing spoken returns void. It either blesses or binds. Many live as prisoners of their own decrees. They say, I can't, and the law agrees. They say, this is too hard, and the law answers, so it shall be. Yet the moment one dares to speak in alignment with the divine, the chains fall away. To say, every door now opens for me, is to set invisible forces into motion, drawing the right doors to swing wide without effort or strain. The universe forever echoes the words spoken with conviction, for it recognizes the voice of one who knows his place as a child of the infinite. The divine law works in perfect order. You need not strive, only align. As the sun does not argue with the flower to make it bloom, so the law does not struggle to fulfill its work. The flower blooms because the sun shines. Your good comes because you speak it into being. Every time you affirm harmony, you tune the instrument of your life to the music of heaven. And when the instrument is in tune, there can be no discord, only the clear, sweet notes of answered prayer. To speak divine law is not to beg or plead, for the giver has already given. It is to recognize that all is yours now, and to speak from that place of knowing. The moment you decree health, health begins its journey toward you. The moment you declare abundance, abundance is summoned to find you. Divine law does not delay, the delay is only in your acceptance. The instant you speak with unwavering faith, the result begins to take form in the unseen, moving swiftly toward manifestation. When you speak divine law, you speak as one who knows that heaven is not far off, but here, not tomorrow, but today, not for the few, but for all who dare to declare it. Words are the blueprint of destiny. They are the silent architects shaping the structure of our lives, laying stone upon stone in the invisible before the visible takes form. Every phrase uttered, whether in the quiet of thought or aloud into the air, draws its lines in the great architectural plan of experience. The house you dwell in tomorrow is framed by the words you speak today. Words are not mere sounds or marks on paper, they are living vibrations, charged with creative power. They move into the unseen substance of life, carrying with them the pattern impressed upon them by belief. Speak in fear, and the walls of your life are built with instability. Speak in faith, and the foundation is as sure as bedrock. From the first breath of creation, words have been the agents of formation. The world itself was spoken into being. The formless responded to the command, "Let there be," and the command was fulfilled without resistance. This same principle moves through every life, for the same creative energy that spoke stars into their places listens for the voice of man. The moment a word is uttered with conviction, the law responds, assembling conditions and opportunities to match the decree. Words, once released, never return empty, they accomplish their mission, whether for good or ill. A careless word is like a misdrawn line on an architect's blueprint. The builder will follow it, and the error will appear in the finished structure. People often speak without thought, not realizing they are instructing the very forces that shape their reality. They say, "I always have bad luck," and the blueprint records misfortune as part of the design. They say, "Money slips through my fingers," and the plan includes lack as a recurring feature. Then, when the house is built exactly as drawn, they wonder why life seems unkind. The truth is, life is obedient to the plan. The blueprint never argues, it only records. It is impossible to speak words without planting a seed. Every sentence drops into the fertile soil of mind, and the soil does not discriminate. If the seed is of weeds, weeds will grow. If the seed is of flowers, beauty will appear. The wise gardener does not scatter thorns and then demand roses. Yet many plant seeds of worry, defeat, and bitterness, then are surprised when their lives yield nothing but tangled growth. The tongue is the hand of the sower, casting into the soil whatever the mind holds. To guard your words is to guard your harvest. There is a reason ancient wisdom teaches that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Words spoken in love and truth have the power to revive hope, heal wounds, and draw forth joy. Words spoken in anger or despair have the power to cut, to diminish, to wither the spirit. Even when spoken lightly, words take root. They sink into the deep places of thought, influencing feelings, choices, and circumstances. They echo back, not always immediately, but inevitably. What is spoken today can meet you years from now, wearing the shape you unknowingly gave it. To understand words as the blueprint of destiny is to take responsibility for speech in its smallest detail. A builder does not say, "It doesn't matter where this line goes," for he knows that one misplaced stroke can weaken the entire structure. In the same way, a man who understands the power of his words refuses to indulge in idle complaints or careless predictions of misfortune. He becomes deliberate, choosing expressions that support the vision he holds. When he says, "I am strong," he draws strength into the framework of his life. When he says, "Everything works out for me," he sketches stability into every future wall. The subconscious mind, like the obedient builder, does not question the blueprint it receives. It does not decide whether a word is true. In the worldly sense, it only knows to accept it as an instruction. Say, "I never remember names," and the builder ensures you forget them. Say, "Opportunities come easily to me," and the builder lays pathways for them to appear. The outer world simply mirrors the design passed to it from within, and that design is traced by words. There is no neutral speech in the realm of creation. Even a joke, when repeated often, can find a way to become fact, for repetition engraves it into the plan. The person who constantly jokes about being unlucky, foolish, or clumsy is sending steady instructions to the unseen forces, and those forces will comply. This is why one must be mindful even in light conversation. Humor can uplift, but it can also plant seeds that later grow into thorns. Every word is a choice, and every choice moves the pen across the blueprint. In truth, the life you live is the exact picture of the story you have been telling. If you want to change the picture, change the story. If you want a house of light, stop drawing with the ink of shadows. Replace "I can't" with "I can." Replace "this is too hard" with "the way is made easy." In the beginning, it may feel strange to speak what is not yet seen, but the blueprint must always come before the building. The architect does not wait for the walls to appear before sketching them. He draws them first, knowing they will follow. The most potent words are those spoken with feeling, for emotion stamps the plan with bold lines. A cold or casual statement may fade before it is built, but a declaration made with passion engraves itself deeply into the design. To say, "I am blessed," while feeling the truth of it, is to place a golden arch over the doorway of your life. The law cannot help but manifest it. And when you speak in harmony with your vision, the very atmosphere around you begins to align, attracting the materials, people, and opportunities needed to complete the structure exactly as drawn. The divine law is exact and unchanging. It is the unseen order that governs all life, the eternal principle that neither sleeps nor slumbers, neither forgets nor overlooks. It moves with the same certainty as the sunrise and the tide, unaltered by human moods, opinions, or conditions. Just as gravity holds the planets in place without favoritism or neglect, the divine law holds every thought, word, and act within its perfect system of cause and effect. There is no chance or accident in its operation. Every cause is followed by its natural and inevitable result. Nothing can escape its reach, for it is the framework within which all creation exists. This law does not bend to the will of man, yet it answers instantly to his alignment with it. A seed placed in fertile soil under proper conditions will sprout, whether the one who planted it is wise or foolish, rich or poor. The law does not ask about the planter's worthiness, it only responds to the action taken in accordance with its principle. In the same way, every mental and spoken word planted into the soil of life will bear fruit of its own kind. The law cannot be bribed, hurried, or persuaded to alter its nature. It is absolute, exact, and impartial. The precision of the divine law is the great safeguard for those who understand it. Knowing it is unchanging, one can rest secure in the fact that the same conditions will always bring the same results. Just as 2 plus 2 will forever equal 4. A thought of harmony will forever bring harmony, and a thought of discord will forever bring discord. The law does not sometimes work and sometimes fail. It works always, without error. If the harvest is not what one desires, the cause must be traced back to what was sown. It is never the law that is at fault, for it operates in perfect faithfulness to the seed given it. Many live unaware of this unchanging order and imagine themselves at the mercy of luck, fate, or the shifting winds of circumstance. Yet every condition of life is the visible outpicturing of an invisible pattern formed by thought, word, and expectation. The law is not moved by pleading or protest, it answers only to alignment. Just as a ship will not sail with the wind, unless its sails are set, so the blessings of the divine cannot fill a life unless the mind and speech are turned toward them. Complaints, fears, and doubts are sails set against the wind, and the law will carry the vessel in the direction of that setting, regardless of the sailor's desire for a different shore. To recognize the exactness of the divine law is to see that nothing is almost right. A bridge that is built to 99% accuracy will still collapse, for a single error throws the whole into weakness. In the same way, a life half aligned with the divine will show the weakness of that misalignment. One cannot affirm abundance in the morning and complain of lack in the evening without introducing a contradiction that delays the manifestation. The law will not piece together fragments of conflicting blueprints. It follows the dominant pattern given to it, and that pattern is formed by what is most consistently thought and spoken. Its unchanging nature is also a shield against injustice. While human judgment may be swayed by appearances, the divine law sees only cause and effect. It does not reward the loudest voice or the strongest arm. It rewards the seed that matches the harvest. If a man sows generosity, the law returns generosity, whether or not others acknowledge his virtue. If he sows selfishness, the law returns the same, regardless of the image he presents to the world. The law cannot be fooled by outward form, for it reads the vibration of the heart and the truth behind every act. This constancy is why patience is required in the operation of the law. A seed planted does not become a tree overnight, yet the growth is certain if the conditions are right. To demand instant results is to misunderstand the unfolding process. The law works with perfect timing, moving through the channels available and arranging all necessary elements in their proper order. The one who understands this is not anxious. He knows that the seed is growing even when it is unseen. His task is to maintain the right mental atmosphere, to water the seed with faith, and to remove the weeds of fear and doubt that would choke its growth. The divine law's precision also means that every effort to circumvent it ends in failure. A man may imagine he can take what is not his and get away with it. But the law records the cause and will return the exact result in due time. The return may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. Likewise, the good sown in secret, unseen by human eyes, cannot be lost. It is held safely until the appointed time of harvest. The law misses nothing, forgets nothing, and miscalculates nothing. To live in harmony with this exactness requires self-discipline. It means becoming a watchman at the gate of thought and speech, allowing nothing contrary to the desired good to pass through. It means holding fast to truth in the face of appearances, knowing that the law is working even when the evidence is not yet visible. It means refusing to compromise with fear or doubt, for even a small seed of either can find its way into the soil and grow alongside the good seed, weakening the harvest. In every department of life, the law operates with the same impartial accuracy. In health, it answers to the mental atmosphere maintained about the body. In wealth, it answers to the consciousness of supply and the willingness to give as well as receive. In relationships, it answers to the vibrations of love, respect, and understanding that are sound into them. It does not operate differently for one area of life than another, it is consistent across all. For it is one law, eternally the same. Speaking faith aligns you with abundance. Faith is the invisible bridge between what is desired and what is possessed, the unseen cord that draws the unseen into the seen. When one speaks faith, the words carry the vibration of certainty, and certainty is the very language the universe understands. Faith is not hoping weakly or wishing vaguely. It is the bold declaration that the good you seek is already yours in essence, awaiting only your recognition of it. To speak in faith is to declare from the mountaintop what your eyes may not yet see in the valley, knowing the vision will descend into form in perfect time. The moment faith is spoken, a signal goes forth into the invisible realm, calling to itself the conditions, people, and opportunities that match its tone. Faith is magnetic, it draws abundance the way a lodestone draws iron. The one who speaks doubt sends out a weak and broken signal, and only weak and broken results can answer. The one who speaks faith sends a strong, steady current that cannot fail to bring a full response. The alignment is in the tone and quality of the speech, for words are more than sounds. They are the carriers of inner belief. Faith-filled words have a different life from the words of fear. When one says, "I know my needs are met," and says it with conviction, those words go forth clothed in power, traveling like swift messengers to arrange the unseen into a perfect supply. Such words do not wander aimlessly. They move with purpose because faith has given them a direction. On the other hand, words spoken without faith are like leaves in the wind, tossed about with no destination, landing where they will, and often in places the speaker does not desire. Abundance is not something outside waiting to be fetched, it is a state of consciousness. Speaking faith tunes the inner state to abundance, as one tunes a musical instrument to a perfect pitch. The moment the tuning is complete, the harmony begins to flow. Just as a radio must be set to the right frequency to receive the broadcast, the mind must be set to the frequency of abundance to receive its manifestation. Speaking faith is the act of turning the dial, holding it steady until the signal comes through clearly. Doubt changes the station, fear fills the air with static, but faith keeps the channel open and pure. This alignment is not dependent on circumstances. One can be surrounded by lack and still speak abundance into existence. Just as a seed can be planted in barren, looking ground and still find a way to sprout when given light and water. Faith looks past the present appearance to the eternal reality. It does not deny what is seen, it simply refuses to give it final authority. By speaking abundance in the midst of scarcity, one invites the higher truth to overtake the lower appearance. The law must respond, for it always matches the vibration of the dominant declaration. Speaking faith is not merely repeating words like a parrot. It is filling those words with the life of belief. Empty affirmations, spoken without conviction, are like shells without substance. They may look right but carry no power. True faith speaks from the knowing that the thing declared is already accomplished in the invisible. This knowing infuses the words with creative force, and that force moves mountains, opens doors, and multiplies supply. The universe does not respond to syllables, it responds to the vibration behind them. The one who consistently speaks faith begins to notice subtle shifts before the great results arrive. A small opportunity appears, a helpful contact is made, an unexpected source of help comes forward. These are the early signs of alignment taking shape. Just as the dawn gives promise of the day, these signs are evidence that the abundance is on its way into full form. To recognize and give thanks for these early signs is to strengthen the alignment, for gratitude is the natural companion of faith, and together they quicken the process. Speaking faith also transforms the inner atmosphere. The mind that once entertained fear becomes a fertile ground for creative ideas, inspired actions, and unexpected solutions. Faith replaces the restless questioning of, "How will it happen?" with the calm assurance of, "It is happening." This calm attracts the right people and conditions, for abundance flows most easily where there is openness rather than resistance. Fear constricts, faith expands. When the inner life expands, the outer life has no choice but to match it. Abundance responds to the one who acts as though it is already present. Speaking faith is a form of such action. It is behaving in words as you would if you already held in your hands the thing desired. This is not pretense. It is participation in the reality that exists in the unseen before it appears in the seen. When a person orders a fine garment from a tailor, they speak of it as theirs before it is delivered, knowing the tailor is at work. So it is with abundance. Once the word of faith is spoken, the work has begun and the delivery is sure. Faith has a multiplying nature. A small seed of faith, spoken consistently, will grow into a harvest far larger than its beginnings. Just as one grain of corn can yield a stalk bearing many years, a single declaration made in unwavering belief can open the way for blessings that overflow. This is why speaking faith daily, without wavering, builds momentum. Each word adds to the structure until abundance finds its way in without hindrance. The alignment faith creates is not one-sided. It changes both the inner and outer world. Within, it silences the voices of limitation and strengthens the will to act when the right moment comes. Without, it signals to the universal storehouse that the doors are open and the way is clear. The two meet, and the manifestation is complete. Faith does not strain or force. It holds the truth steadily, knowing the law is already fulfilling it. When you speak faith, you are not creating abundance from nothing. You are uncovering what has always been yours in the divine storehouse. The supply was there before the demand was spoken, but the demand must be declared to draw it forth. Speaking faith is the key that unlocks the door, the bridge that spans the gap, the magnet that draws the form to the formless. And in that steady, unwavering speech of belief, the alignment is maintained until the unseen takes on substance and the word spoken becomes the life lived. Decrees set unseen forces into motion. A decree is not a casual statement or a fleeting wish. It is a command spoken with authority, carrying the vibration of certainty, and directed toward a specific outcome. When such a word is uttered, it does not linger idly in the air. It moves instantly into the invisible realm where laws, energies, and channels beyond human sight begin to align themselves to bring that decree into form. The unseen is not a void but a living, responsive field, attentive to the instructions it receives. A decree spoken with conviction imprints itself upon this field, and the field begins to organize itself according to that imprint. Every word has a creative nature, but a decree is a word heightened by intention and backed by the will. It is the difference between dropping a pebble into still water and casting a great stone. Both create ripples, but the decree sends waves far and wide, touching shores beyond imagination. The unseen forces that respond to decrees are precise in their work. They follow the exact tone and image carried in the declaration. If the decree is one of harmony, the energies move to dissolve conflict and bring balance. If the decree is one of abundance, they set about opening channels of supply, arranging circumstances and connections in perfect order. These forces do not hesitate or question the worthiness of the one who speaks. They obey the law of cause and effect. Just as an electric current flows, when the switch is turned on, unseen energies move when the decree is released. The responsibility lies in the clarity of the command. A vague decree produces a vague result, just as a blurred plan produces a crooked structure. The more specific and unwavering the decree, the more direct and swift the movement of these forces. A decree carries power because it is spoken from the position of authority that every soul holds in the divine order. It is the rightful use of the creative power within, not as a request for permission, but as the exercise of a given right. To decree is to say, "This is so," and to know it is so in the unseen before any sign appears. The forces respond to that knowing, for it signals that the speaker is aligned with the law of creation rather than opposing it with doubt or hesitation. The unseen realm is rich with resources waiting to be shaped by the word. These resources are like raw materials in a master workshop, able to take any form required. A decree is the blueprint handed to the builder. Without the decree, the materials remain formless, with no plan to follow. The moment the decree is given, the construction begins, not in the outer world first, but in the inner dimensions where form is conceived before it is born into matter. When a decree is spoken, the movement begins immediately, though the results may not be visible at once. The forces may need to rearrange existing structures, open new paths, or clear away obstacles before the manifestation appears. During this period, the decree must be held steady. Reversing or contradicting it through fear, doubt, or opposing words is like halting the work mid-construction and handing the builder a different set of plans. The original decree loses momentum, and the process begins again from the new instructions. Consistency is the key that keeps the unseen forces on course until the work is completed. Every great transformation in life begins with a decree. Whether spoken quietly in solitude or declared boldly in the face of challenge, the decree marks the turning point. It sets in motion currents that may shift situations, move people, and open doors that seemed firmly closed. Sometimes the response is swift, like a sudden wind changing direction. Other times it is gradual, like the steady growth of a tree. But in either case, the decree is the initiating spark. Without it, there is no ignition. The quality of the decree matters as much as its content. Words spoken without conviction are like a drum struck without force. They make a sound, but the echo fades quickly. A true decree is charged with the energy of belief. It is spoken as one who knows the authority of their word, who trusts the law to fulfill it. The unseen forces recognize this energy and move accordingly, for they are attuned to the vibration of certainty. A decree also acts as a signal to the subconscious mind, which in turn influences behavior, perception, and receptivity. Once the subconscious accepts a decree as truth, it begins to notice opportunities, ideas, and solutions that align with it. This inner alignment works hand in hand with the outer alignment of unseen forces, creating a path for the decree to manifest with greater ease. In this way, the decree does not merely summon external assistance, it awakens the inner faculties needed to cooperate with the unfolding. The power of a decree is amplified by repetition, not in the sense of begging or forcing, but in the sense of reinforcing a structure until it is unshakable. Each time the decree is spoken, it deepens the imprint on the unseen field. The forces continue to respond, adjusting and refining the conditions to match the unwavering command. Just as water wears away stone through steady flow, a persistent decree shapes reality until it conforms to the pattern spoken. Decrees have been used throughout history by those who understood their potency. Kings issued decrees to shape the destiny of kingdoms, and in the spiritual realm, decrees shape the destiny of individuals. The principle is the same. The word spoken with authority sets in motion a chain of events that bends circumstances to match its content. To decree is to claim dominion over the area of life addressed, to say with firmness, "This shall be," and to release that word into the field of unlimited possibility. Unseen forces are ever ready to respond, for they exist to fulfill the patterns given to them. They do not decide which decrees to answer based on personal judgment. They are bound by the eternal law to return what is sent out. This is why care must be taken to decree only that which aligns with the highest good, for the same forces that build can also dismantle if commanded to do so. The law is exact, and the decree is the lever by which it is engaged. When a decree is aligned with truth, love, and harmony, the forces move with speed and precision, as though the whole of creation conspires to bring it forth. Coincidences appear that are not coincidences at all, help comes from directions unimagined. What seemed impossible begins to take shape naturally. These are the outward signs of an inner command being obeyed. And it all begins with the spoken word that, once released, travels far beyond the earshot of the one who uttered it, touching the unseen and setting it to work in perfect obedience to the decree given. Delay exists only in acceptance, not in supply. The universe is already complete in its provision. Every good thing that could ever be needed or desired exists now in the invisible storehouse of the divine. Supply is never absent, never late, and never diminished. The apparent waiting is not for the thing itself to be created, for it is already established, but for the individual to come into full alignment with its reality. This alignment is acceptance, the mental, emotional, and spiritual agreement that the good is already theirs, here and now. Without this agreement, the supply remains in potential form, like water held behind a dam, ready to rush forth the moment the gate is opened. Many believe they are waiting on the universe to deliver, when in truth the universe is waiting on them to receive. The moment acceptance is complete, the manifestation begins to flow naturally, without struggle or delay. It is not a question of worthiness, nor of time, it is a matter of readiness. Readiness is not about preparation in the outer sense, but about releasing every inner resistance to the good that already exists. Doubt, fear, and unworthiness are like closed doors. Acceptance flings the doors wide open and allows the unseen abundance to enter. Supply is instant because the law is instant. Cause and effect are bound together. The decree made in faith sets the cause, and the effect is assured. The appearance of time between cause and effect is an illusion shaped by human perception. The delay is the period during which the individual's consciousness rises to match the frequency of what they have called forth. The good is not traveling toward them from a distant place, it is already present, awaiting recognition. Acceptance is the act of recognition, the claiming of ownership in the unseen, before the outer evidence appears. This is why two people can speak the same words, or perform the same actions, and yet experience vastly different results. One has accepted the reality of the supply before speaking, while the other has merely spoken from hope or longing. The first is like a person opening the faucet, knowing the water is already in the pipes. The second is like turning the handle without believing the water exists, cutting off the flow before it begins. The universe answers the vibration of certainty, and that certainty is the essence of acceptance. To understand that delay is in acceptance is to realize that all waiting is self-imposed. The instant the mind drops its resistance, the instant the heart believes without question, the instant the soul says, "It is mine now," the pathway is cleared. Until that moment, the pathway is cluttered with contradictory thoughts, fears about the outcome, and imagined obstacles. Acceptance sweeps these aside not by force, but by dissolving their reality. When the inner being knows the supply is secure, the outer world aligns to reflect that knowledge. Acceptance is not passive resignation, it is active agreement with divine truth. It is the difference between a person sitting idly and one who stands at the station with suitcase in hand, ready to board the train the moment it arrives. The readiness is not in the outer action alone, but in the inner posture of expectancy. The one who has accepted their good walks and speaks as though it were already present, because in truth it is. This inner stance is magnetic to the forces that bring the invisible into the visible. The supply cannot be depleted, for it is drawn from an infinite source. Yet to the one who has not accepted it, it may seem as though it does not exist at all. This is why belief plays such a central role. Belief is the bridge between potential and manifestation. Without it, the supply remains untouched. Like a banquet ignored by the hungry, because they do not believe the food is theirs to eat. Acceptance picks up the plate and begins the feast, confident there will always be more. The moment acceptance occurs, the sense of urgency disappears. Anxiety about when and how vanishes, replaced by a calm assurance that the matter is settled. This calm is not indifference, it is the sure knowing that the outcome is inevitable. It is like planting a seed and resting in the knowledge that it will sprout in its season, without digging it up to check its progress. In this atmosphere of assurance, the manifestation is often faster because the mental interference of doubt has been removed. When people speak of waiting for their good, they often mean they are waiting for outer signs to convince them of its reality. But the outer signs only appear after the inner acceptance. Trying to reverse this order is like expecting a reflection in the mirror to smile before you do. The reflection is always the effect, never the cause. Acceptance turns the cause into certainty, and certainty produces the effect. It is also possible for someone to receive in part, but not in full because their acceptance is partial. They may allow a small flow but block the greater abundance through lingering beliefs of limitation. They may say, I can have enough to get by. But not, I can have more than enough to overflow. The universe will always match the measure of acceptance. Just as a container can only be filled to its size, consciousness can only receive according to the capacity allowed. Expanding acceptance expands the measure of the good that can flow in. There is no delay in the storehouse of the divine, no shortage in its shelves. What appears as delay is simply the time it takes for the mind to release its grip on old patterns, its clinging to past experiences, and its habit of expecting less than the highest good. Once those patterns are dissolved and replaced with acceptance, the flow is immediate. It does not need to be coaxed or persuaded. It was always present, pressing to enter, restrained only by the barriers of disbelief. Acceptance is the open gate, the lifted veil, the cleared channel. It requires trust in the unseen, and the willingness to let go of control over the details of how the good will come. The how belongs to the unseen forces, the yes belongs to the one who accepts. In giving that yes, fully without condition or hesitation, the individual steps into the same rhythm as the universal order. And in that rhythm, there is no waiting, no lack, no postponement, only the seamless meeting of supply and demand in the eternal now.